My name is Schute. Well, I think there are a lot of people in America, in various parts of the government, the Congress, who do support Kurdistan and want to see Kurdistan supported and defended. However, I think one of the big problems is that the current administration has basically taken over the old policy of the previous administration and hasn't revised it. And I think they need to spend some time revising it. And I think the leadership in Kurdistan, the various people who work with the U.S. government, need to push on that to update and change that policy to make it more realistic to what's happening in 2017 versus what might have been happening 10 years ago. Well, again, this is something that should be obvious. With the statements that President Trump made, I believe it was on the 14th of October, regarding putting the Revolutionary Guard Corps on the terrorism list, as well as the leadership of the Quds Force. And then what happened 2 days later, again, this should be an obvious thing when an organization that we declare as terrorists attacks an ally, then we have to have some policy and how to respond to that. And again, it's something that's not sorted out in the U.S. government right now. It must be addressed. They have to modify the policy and recognize who our allies are, for example, Kurdistan, and who they are not. And this includes the PMF and their sponsors in Tehran. And I think that's the reality. I think the U.S. government's position is he is the least bad candidate. And because they view him as the least bad candidate, that is why you've seen the U.S. take the position it's taken, trying to support him so that he can become prime minister again, because they don't want Maliki. They don't want some of the other potential candidates that are out there. But the thing is, again, I don't think the U.S. has taken, and when I say the U.S., I mean the administration, has taken a thorough view of how to do that in a way that doesn't damage our ally in Kurdistan. Well, I have always been an advocate for Kurdistan and have long said that one day Kurdistan should be independent. And I don't change that view. I think it is something that the United States should support, whether it happens next month, next year, 2 years from now, but it is something that should happen. I believe the approach that was taken to do it in a responsible, negotiated way was a good way to do it. And I think that with continued effort, pushing the U.S. government, that they can come around to understand that that's the best thing to do. Perseverance. The path to becoming independent, the path to greater autonomy is not something that can easily be done. If we were to look at the history of the United States, it took us years and a war with Great Britain to earn our independence. It took us years to earn allies. Our first major ally was one of the hosts of this event tonight.